Yo, what's going on, homies? So I just got access to SDL Tone's control hub, and I wanted to kind of show you how I went about using it in this mix that actually a song that I was working on yesterday on stream. So we could kind of see how I went about using it and if it's going to replace the plugins that I already use for mixing. So let's take a look. Okay. So this is a song that I was working on yesterday on stream. And if you wanted to check that out, I wrote this whole thing on stream. And it's only a few parts. However, I feel like, with a few more parts, I can make this a whole song. However, STL Tones was having a sale, like an Easter sale. And so I wanted to check out Control Hub. I've been hearing a ton about it. Everyone has been raving about it. Now, for me, I feel like my mixes are getting better and better with kind of like the workflow that I already have. However, it is a little CPU intensive, especially when I'm streaming and stuff. But I wanted to see if I could utilize Control Hub in a way to where it can, I can use less plugins, and so it will, kind of help my CPU usage. So I use STL Tones in this mix, but it's not everywhere. And so that's why I kind of wanted to showcase this. So this is the song here. I'll give you a little preview of what it sounds like here. I believe everything is good. This is not final mix. This is just kind of to the point where I got to, but I didn't want to delay in kind of showing you and giving you my initial thoughts about it. Okay, so there's still more work to be done on this mix. And I realized that I had STL Tones in the very last of this chain here. This is my master chain, which I'll go through. But first thing I wanted to show you was what the drums sound like, because I have a lot of STL Tones on there. I have STL Tones on my drum bus, on my kick channel, on my snare channel, my toms, nothing on the hats. I have it on my overheads. I have it on my rooms, and I have it on my drum verb. And so this is the biggest place where STL Tones comes in. So I'll just solo this so you can hear what it sounds like. And then again, I'll show you just kind of a little quick thing here. And so, STL tones is kind of all over the drums, and I could just kind of start to show you. Actually, let me start with the drum bus. So the drum bus, I used Kevin and Kane Churko's Drum Bus Rock. And so you could kind of see what it's doing here. It's not doing a ton in terms of like dynamics and stuff, but I do have a little bit of color and stuff on here. This, I believe, was already a part of the preset. No limiting or anything like that. I could literally just turn that off. But I just kind of wanted the preset to do its thing. I could have probably added some dynamics and stuff like that. I mean, the compressor. But yeah. For the kick drum, you could see I have a little bit of pre-EQ here. And then I am using Jeff Giuliano's Kick Try This First preset. This might have been something that I've done, but oops, I'm sorry, the kick. So it's not doing a ton, but there is things that are happening. Next thing is on my snare. You can see I have some soothe and spiff after. We'll have to talk about that. But I used Daniel Bronstein's snare punch for my snare. So on my soothe here, this is my crazy soothe preset. Just getting rid of that sound. It's so hard to get rid of in some drums. It's like the overtones there. I did a little bit more with spiff. For my toms, I'm not too happy with my toms, but again, this is just kind of where I got to. I just used STL tones. Daniel Bronstein's Tom Bus Clarity. So really, this one helped a lot. I liked what that did here. It's really awesome. Overheads. So I used Will Putney's Cymbal Smooth on this, and I felt like this preset actually really helped what was going on in the overheads, but you could see that I had to use other plugins to kind of like mitigate other things that I didn't like about the overhead sound, right? So I'll just kind of A/B it without and with. This one. Pretty drastic. And so I do have some pre-EQ going on here too. And you heard it when I A/B'd it as well. Again, I have soothe going on, cymbal smooth. Just the harsh stuff, man. Kind of just blends it into the mix a lot better, you know? And then I use, this is my little flatline 2 trick here. So I use this to like chill the snare out. I just clip it basically. One second here. Nice. Heck yeah. This is what happens when I don't have any mods. Let's go. What's up, Placidon? How we doing, dude? Anyway, so this is, I use this to clip off the snare. Like you can hear it's still loud. It's just like the information that's there. It's not really doing anything to the sound, but you can definitely see by this meter what it's clipping off. Like that's what it's clipping off there. And so that's just, it helps give more room to this snare here, but it gives the body and the room sound of the overheads, you know? On my mono, looks like I have something on here too. I used Colin Richardson's Smash Bus for this. I don't normally use the mono mic, but I think I wanted to try it. Oh no, look, looks like I didn't. So I can actually get rid of this. I ended up not using it. You can see I have it all the way down. For my rooms, you can see I mainly have it for another bit of snare room. I use flatline to do that clipping trick again. Those sounds, those compound over all of your other, you know, microphones where the snare's at, and so it's like I don't need that. And I realized how dull some mixes are, you know. A lot of this was like A-Bing with other mixes. A little bit of dynamics. There's some things that I use, I guess I could have showed you that. So there's some things, what I like about, looks like I didn't do it on here. Maybe I did it on the toms. Transient Designer. This helped out a lot with my sustain of my, my tom sound. You can hear that it was like, it was a lot. I just wanted the short sound, you know? So that helped a lot. This is so handy to have just straight in here. The fact that it's a little hidden, like that's something to keep in mind, you know? It would probably have been nice to do like a little bit of a scroll thing here maybe. Oops, I was moving this. But I had to click in here to kind of, oh, there's more things. And so, I haven't tried the de-esser yet, but I will. On my deverb, you can see I have a little bit of a gate going. I didn't want to, I didn't want the ghost notes in there, you know? And so that's why I used this gate. It's literally why I used the gate. for the tones preset or the control hub preset, I used F Reed's Room Smash. And so we can hear what that sounds like before and after. I think it's kind of drastic. Yeah. This, I think I did. This high pass filter. Could I do more things to it? Probably. And I probably should. But I tried to just kind of mix it in, you know? So it may sound kind of loud by itself, but it's just like in the mix, it's kind of, you know. It lets it, you know, you can actually hear it. Now, it is being assisted. I wasn't talking to Alexa and it wanted to try. Okay, so what I was going at was the little Daniel Bronstein trick that was on Nail the Mix not too long ago. I messed with it. And so I sidechained the kick of the snare to a few things. And the compressor for the snare, actually, he was saying, you know, don't use a ton of attack because you don't want the attack of the snare. You want the after, you know, the release of it. And so I kind of messed around with that. And so that's what's helping, you know, give more air to the snare as well. On my guitar, I did not use it. I tried to use it. And you can see I have a lot of plugins on my guitar. Which, I mean, they're not doing a crazy amount. This is just my sidechain stuff, so. And then this is, since I have automation going, like volume automation, here. I didn't want to like mess around with everything, so I just used a utility to bring up and down the volume. And you can see like I'm constantly messing with this. Going up and down. Going down a dB, up a dB, just to kind of find that sweet spot, right? But in terms of this, again, there's not a ton going on. So that's just my tone by itself. That's just my amp and cab. Then I have this EQ. Compression. And then gold floss to kind of like just polish it off. Not a ton though. Some smooth, this really helped me, or some soothe, this really helped. De-digitize software amp. And then I think I used a little bit of this Warmy Audio EP1A, which is a free plugin. Just to boost some things, but I ended up kind of bringing some stuff down, so there's not a ton going on with that. I can honestly probably leave it down. This was at the very end because I realized that it was really hot in this mix, and so I brought it down a tiny bit. And then I used a little bit of wider, not a lot. I know at first it said 200, but it's actually just 3%, just to kind of give it a little bit more spread. And then I used this free plugin called Phantom Center to make the center information even less. So those are really hard to hear, but that's kind of like an in the mix thing. Like you'll be able to hear your snare a lot more by doing stuff like this. And I do this throughout my mix. It's so helpful. In terms of my bass, didn't use it on the bass. So I tried it on guitar and I tried it on bass, and I ended up not using them. This is my own signal chain. And so oops, this. And then I did the old sidechain trick again. But I'm using parallax on the mic'd up setting. I think I tweaked these a tiny bit. And then Pro EQ, this is my settings here. A little bit of R bass, this is for like smaller speakers. Not a lot. This is a Jordan Valerian trick. I learned that from him. And then double tap, of course. Thing I love about double tap is like if you hover over this knob, it'll tell you ideal amount, 1 to 2 orange lights. Okay, I'm gonna do what they say. This is their plugin. This side, 2 green, occasionally jumping into the orange. It tells you what it does. And it's so awesome. It's so awesome. Really good plugin. I love this plugin. For my pads, I used STL Tones Control Hub. I used Daniel Bronstein's synth bass control. Now I don't have bass in this synth. However, I figured it could still help me out. So again, what you're hearing is the sidechains, so just be aware of that. Let me turn them off for now. This is just to keep them from getting weird. You know, that's why I try to use a compressor. This move was strictly so I can hear it a little bit more in the mix, you know? So that's why that's there. But I use Phantom Center to get it a little bit more out of the center. Again, you can't hear it much, but a nice indicator is this little line here. It's telling you like you're in center, you're out of center. You know what I mean? And so I try to keep it not a crazy amount, but you know, a healthy amount, because I'm just trying to have it add some layers in there, right? And then I have this guy. And I did use STL tones on this. This is actually the Glue key squeeze. I'm just trying to pin it there. Now, so a lot of these moves I did with the whole mix going, and so it probably sounds really weird by itself. But you can see I used other plugins again. You know. And then this is my sidechain. So I'll just hide these. But I used wider, right? A little bit wider. And then there's this. Cybersynth, which is like perfect for what I'm doing, right? This sounds like a cybersynth to me. Yo, David, what's going on? Hi, man, what's going on here? Just checking out Control Hub. I said I was going to mix this on stream, but I'm glad that I didn't, because it took me a while just to get to this point. And I'm not fully satisfied with this mix yet, but I definitely wanted to kind of show you guys where I was at and just kind of like my initial thoughts on, you know, Control Hub. Pass it on. What's going on, dude? I'm curious if there anything built in Isotopes plugins that work like Soothe. Can't spend the money on it. Oh, I don't know, man. I think Colin could tell you, Akita, but I think that there's like a free version of something like it somewhere. But I've never tried it, and so Yo, V, what's going on? Oppressor, how we doing? Guys, I'm sorry, this might be a short stream, because I have somewhere that I have to be um, fairly soon. And so just so you guys know, I don't mean to like ditch you, but again, I wanted to show you guys this. I really want you guys to be a part of like this, my whole process and my thought process in terms of like immediate, you can ask David. I was up pretty late last night, just like trying to get this to work, right? I was really trying to get this, and I just haven't had enough time with it, right? I didn't have a ton of time, and so I don't have like final thoughts on it, but this is kind of like my first official try at trying to replace some of my plugins. Um, one thing that you will notice is on my master, I didn't use it, man. And this is where I wanted things to kind of go away. You could see that my CPU usage is at about 50, which is pretty much the same with all the other plugins that I've had on my previous mixes. If you were here, that's about where it's hanging out. But when I turn everything on, you'll be able to see. I'll play it with the whole mix. So we're about 60% at the highest point, which is like, it's not terrible, but again, it's not anything different than what I've had before. One thing that I did notice is when you watch the Control Hub videos and you look at these producers' CPU usage, and they just have Control Hub on everything, not on everything, but a lot of things, you can see that their CPU usage is still a little high. And so I was like, let me just try. Now, one thing that I am excited to try is going back to a session that I like the sound of, like I like the mix, and capturing my own chains from that. Because with STL Control Hub, you can download the tracer tool or the tracer tone, and you can get a complete signal chain, or you can just do a compressor. And so what I could do is I can take all these chains, everything except for, my guitar stuff, my actual guitar stuff, but like the compression and EQ that I have going on, I can capture that into a chain. And then I want to see if I can replace it with that. So that's my next kind of thing. It's going to take a little bit of time, not too long. I've seen how it was done, and they do have some really good videos about it. And it's not crazy, it's pretty easy. But I would like to be able to do that with the mixes that I like the last song that I did. I want to capture the chain from them, and so that's going to be interesting to check out. But these, I hope that it can work on this as well, because this would be nice to get rid of, especially the stuff with Gullfoss, because when you turn off Gullfoss, it goes down pretty good. You turn off Soothe, it goes down even more. We're at 35. When I turn them on, just this one, we're at 50. And so I have them kind of all throughout this mix. And I love Soothe, and I love Gullfoss so much. And I love Spiff. But if I can figure out a way to get this on STL Tones, the Control Hub, I mean, I got it for a year, so it's I gotta try it. Now, am I completely happy with this mix? It's okay. It's not bad. But it's not to the level that I want it to be at, right? There's still these issues that I hear that I need to dive into. Now, it could just be, what I have going on in some of these here, the relationship between them all. Now, like for example, in my drum bus, what I usually do is I will put in an SSL comp. There it is. So I'll put this here on the punch setting. You can already hear it's doing stuff. Probably have to dial this in. It's kind of similar, dude. That's interesting. Yo, what's up, Mason? Missed the beginning of the stream. What are we testing to see? Yes, yeah, for real. That's honestly what I was trying to see. Like, I want to bring down my CPU usage, but it's like, so I can honestly, there's not a ton of difference, so I can get rid of it there and just stick with what I've been doing here. Now, I'm not completely sold on my bass tone. Like, there was something that I did that I must have done to, like, mess with it. It could have been somewhere here, but what I was probably trying to do was blend it in with, you know, these STL tone mixes that I was getting through the drums and stuff like that. And so, you know, that's something else that I need to dive in and check out. But I think what I want to do is I want to, and I should have done, but I just didn't have the time, was do this with the mix tools that I already have, so we can kind of A/B it, you know. I could do that for probably tomorrow. Yeah, and then have it be a part of this video, because this is, I'm going to try to possibly edit this into a video depending on how good it is. I feel like it's going okay, but you know. Mr. Sachs, what's up? I just bought Softtube Console 1 MK3 to try and used for 90% of my mixing. It's pretty sick so far, but I haven't dived deep into it. Oh, Console 1 MK3. Console 1 MK3. Oof. That's an expensive boy. This one? 900. 9 bills right there. Sheesh. That's crazy, dude. It better be good for that much, you know what I mean? That's awesome though, man. I'd be curious to hear what you're getting out of it, you know? I would check out the Discord, man. Throw some jams into our community jams for the end of the week. For my pad, it helped a decent amount, you know? I'm not completely sold on my kick sound. I was even messing with it off stream, like right before stream. I'm usually using smash and grab for this, you know. It is. Technically it is. I just got it a few days ago, and I was messing with it last night, and I kind of wanted to show how I went about using it and how I tried to replace some of my plugins, you know. This is another thing that I would use smash and grab on my snare. This actually did a pretty good job. I do like the way that the snare sounds. You could see that I brought this down. This was me experimenting because there was a lot of low end. You know what? It's probably better because I just did the SSL on Punch. This. It's not bad. I think the mixing plugin market is so ridiculously saturated at this point. It seems more people are attempting to simplify their plugin collection by moving towards more all-in-one. Right. Right. Thank you, man. I appreciate it, dude. I really, so I feel like, they are definitely getting better and better. My mixes, way better than they used to be. Um, could always improve though, right? And so that's kind of why I wanted to check these out. Like, what are these guys doing? That I could learn from and stuff like that. Now, the things that I am excited for and that I should have dove into more, if I had more time than I would have. But for example, actually just do it through, I think it's definitely George Lever's stuff. Like he has like just distressors, you know what I mean? Distressors, EQ off stuff. And he also has individual models. So this is really cool. I'm curious to see what this does. And again, I have it for a year, so I definitely am going to check it out. None of these things, like these guys that I tried, they were just not doing it for me. I tried a lot of them. I tried so many presets just to like have a good starting point and then blend, but it was just like, it was tough, man. It was really tough. But again, I'm not going to say whether you should or shouldn't get it right now because I've had it for this long. Like it's not horrible. I could just tell you that right now. But you definitely have to kind of do some finagling because the way that I kind of see it is like, yeah, we're getting a capture of this signal chain. However, their source tone is different than my source tone. And so that's why I'm having to like work a little bit harder. That's why I'm also excited to mess around with, like I said, George Lever's like outboard gear and also the castle recording stuff. They have individual models. Like, look at this. This is the whole console. And so this would be cool to mess around with. These are just different pieces of outboard gear that I definitely need to check out. I have it for a year again, so I'm going to check it out. Yeah. And these are just captures of that outboard gear. And so that's what's really exciting. This is the outboard gear IR, kind of like a cab IR. Same thing. But people are doing it with their outboard gear, which is really cool. And you can do it yourself with this. If you have outboard gear, like your Mix 1 maybe, you can capture that. You can freaking capture that. That's what's really cool. Like if you find yourself always doing these moves, just capture it in here. Again, that's what they say. I can't verify that that is actually a thing. I've just seen some of these videos that you can see yourself too. And so that's why I wanted to check it out. Yeah, so those are the biggest things. Yes, it does have capture technology. So let me go back in here. So if you go to Tracer right here, you can see, welcome to the Control Hub Tracer. This setup will walk you through each step of the tracing process. Select your signal chain type, complete signal chain or compressor. So I can capture my complete chain of, for example, my bass. So all this stuff here, well, minus my bass, of course, but the EQ, the compression and stuff that I've done, I can capture it all. Now they give you like some parameters that you need to stay within, and you have to have enough headroom and stuff like that. So that's what's cool. Like that's why with these artists, for example, like George Lever, I like there was the way that he went about creating his presets was really cool. Um, because like bass, Rev D EQ. So like that's 1176 Rev D by itself, and this is 1176 Rev D with his EQ. And so that's what's, really cool about it too. Fixing bad IR and bright, fix bad IRs and mid, fix bad IRs and thicken. And so it's like there's a lot of cool things, man. I haven't had enough time to really give it that like look at this one, SM7B start. There's a lot of cool things in here. Fatso transformers plus bus compression. Fatso warmth on. So again, I like the way that he set up his stuff. He also like I think he was talking about like with his overheads or something like that, like room out of control. Cymbal small room fix. Cymbal mid-range flip. Cymbal tamer. So his is kind of like doctoring, which is good. I'm cool with that. I'm down. I just need to again use it on more things. And this is just one style of mixing, right? This is more of like a prog metal. Like I think that this sounds a lot like Auras. Um, that's like one of my favorite bands, and so every once in a while I need to get my Auras out, and so I'll make something like this. Just because it's like you're in like a different world. You're like in this cyber world. That's what I love about like things like this. So that's why those are in there. Because it really reminds me of Auras. And Auras is so freaking good, man. If you haven't checked out Auras, you must. Their drummer, Nate Bulla. He's so good. He's so good. That was another reason why I chose these grooves in particular. So this is actually Giga Drums P5, and I use the Mike Malian groove pack. But what's cool is it's very similar to an Aura style song, you know. Um, Again, I wrote this all on stream yesterday, so if you weren't here yesterday, or if you're watching this um, as a VOD, then you should definitely see how I wrote it because it was pretty fast. I mean, you can ask the guys in chat. Like it didn't take too long to get to a manageable point because then after that point, you kind of just start to tweak things here and there, move some stuff, add your own fills, stuff like that. And so that's kind of my little secret to getting songs started really fast is just start with some grooves, you know. And the ability to just transfer your kick over to your bass right away because everything's MIDI. I'm able to pump out ideas all the time. It's really awesome. So the SDL Tones is a subscription model. Yeah, so you can buy it outright, which is it's pretty pricey. Because, all of these here, so all these artist packs you have to buy individually. These are all things you have to buy individual, and I want to say they're either 49 or 59 each. And then you have to purchase Control Hub, which is I want to say it's 199 right now. Or you can buy it monthly for $15 a month. Right now they have a sale going on where you can buy it for a whole year for $90, which is cheaper than, like Soothe and stuff, right? And some of these guys have Soothe in here, That was another thing. It was like, oh, they already have Soothe on it? Sick. I can get rid of Soothe. Like, not having to use it so much because it's such a CPU intensive plugin. But I can't live without it. And I think a lot of people can't live without it because it's so good. It's so good. And I'm finding out that I'm having a hard time living without Spiff. I'm still in my 20-day trial, dude. I gotta get it though. It's so good. It's so good. it's just it does a really good job at this specific thing, you know? That's what I love about it. In terms of my guitar tone, again, this was another thing that I tried to blend in with the drum tones that I have, this and that. Am I completely happy with it? It's okay, you know? But this was me banging my head against the wall last night, just like, ugh, I need to get this to sound at least decent enough, you know? Which bass library are you using? So I always use, since it's been out, I've been using Nolly Bass. Nolly Bass is awesome. Sounds really good. There's not a ton of articulations, but I'm not too worried about that. I only need one, and it's like a hammer on and pull off, and they have it. It's like a string slide, but I use it as a hammer on and pull off. And it's worked completely fine for me. And I'm going into a preamp, which we can experiment with that too, which is DI fix. So again, essentially just plugging it. I always forget to do this. Plugging it into a DI, you know, or I mean a preamp. I'm sorry, like an emulator, right? And so we can try that. Put an STL tones here instead, and then using one of the preamp things, right? That would be interesting to check out. Man, if I had more time, I definitely would. But I will do that. Because it would be awesome to check that out. Because I do use DI fix on my guitars as well. I'm using Odin 2 for my guitars. And then I have DI fix. And then Gojira X. Been experimenting with this tone lately for this sort of mix here. You know, the mix is okay. It's not bad, but it's just like I've been really liking like the improvement that I've been making with my own personal like signal chain. But this isn't that far off. Pretty close. But again, my CPU is still the same. Not bad. It's not bad. So I think what I want to try to do next is because what I've been doing is been saving these like in, you know, various 1, 2. I'll probably do a third one again, and then I'll use my my signal chains for this because I actually have them up here as like a quick grab. Master chain, bass chain, guitar chain. And then here's my drums here that I've been using a lot of. However, I think I want to use my drums from the last song that I did because I feel like I'm getting closer to the drum sound that I like, you know? I also need to attempt to make a different style of song and then use STL tones for that as well. You know, like I don't know, just something different. This is just what came out with these grooves, right? The other grooves that I have, because I got a few sets of grooves from the homies at Get Good Drums, and I think I got 4 of them. Yeah, you can see I really love grooves. Strizik, what the heck is going on, dude? I have my own little fill pack, which you can get on my Patreon. Just practical fills, I call it. Some pretty cool fills. So these are, the velocities are a little different on these fills, so I would bring them up if you're making this style of music. Chris, are you a drummer primarily? So this is so funny. This has changed over the years. I started out playing guitar. Well, technically, I started out playing the snare when I was real young. And then the snare was too heavy because I was like a little kid and no one would carry it to band class for me. Like I was tiny, dude, and I was like trying to carry this big old snare. It was like, I hate this. Sucks, you know? And so, and then when I got older, I started playing guitar. Got really into guitar for a while. Never really had access to drums. Then I went and moved with my drummer at about 2018, 2017. And that's when I actually started to really start playing drums. And I was like, oh, so I thought I was a guitarist who kind of played drums, but I'm really a drummer who plays guitar. But as I'm like, again, I'm at this stage in my life where I'm not playing a ton of instruments right now. I've been doing a lot of songwriting. And so at this current moment, I'm a songwriter who plays guitar and drums. So, but that being said, I have been getting on the kit a lot more to dust off the chops because I just feel like I should be way better for playing drums since 2018, you know? And so I've been practicing my doubles and, you know, my paradiddles and stuff like that, you know? Yeah, I think that that's good though, because you're kind of like exploring these different areas, you know? I'm kind of an all around guy, and that's just kind of who I am as a person, you know? I know how to do a lot of things, but I'm interested in a lot of things, you know? But I'm not just interested of like, oh, that's cool. I'm gonna put it on my desk so I can look at it. It's like, no, I want to see how this works and I want to get proficient at it. You know, I'm that kind of guy, just naturally. I naturally like gravitate towards like wanting to find out how I can make my things sound cool, look as cool, blah, 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 you know? And so that's why you see me in all these areas, you know? But I mean, I love making videos and stuff like that and making graphics, you know? And so it's like they all culminate into this whole musical journey. That's what's so cool about art is, you know, it can all culminate into this, right? I'm using all of those things for this. And so it's really nice. That's my excuse anyway. But anyway, sorry, I got squirreled. So I just got the Sam Applebaum's Gent Metal MIDI pack. I got the Mike Malian one as well. I got Eric and Prota's Modern Prog, which is really good. I used it on my last song that I made on stream. And then the Post Metal by Sean Radcliffe, which is Loathe. And so I'm excited. I haven't even touched it. I haven't touched it yet because I want to mess with it on stream. But I want it to be a sounds like Loathe, using Loathe grooves. I think that would be a perfect, perfect video, you know. But it would also be really cool to check out. And, you know, if you love Loathe, I would loathe your help. I mean, love your help. And so, you know, join me, and I'll let you guys know when I get to that. But I'm looking forward to it, and I hope that I can do it justice. You know, it's hard to sound like other bands sometimes. We need more post metal, dude. That track that you made that we listened to yesterday, fire. And so I could use your help, man. I could use your help. But dudes, I think I have to dip out, man. I'm sorry it's such a short stream. So my mom's car got messed up the other day, as weird as it sounds. And we, got it towed and we took it over to the place and we're like, okay, well, let's go get you a rental for now. And we got her a rental a few days ago, like I think a day or two after it happened. Got the rental. Next day, they called and said her car was done. And so, you know, so we gotta go get the car now because it's done. And so I gotta drive the rental. So that's literally what I'm doing. Post metal is very broad genre. I know. Industrial style, dude. I love all that stuff too. I would love to one day to try to do like a sounds like Nine Inch Nails. Could I do it justice? Probably not with what I know now, but I can like exercise that muscle to then when I get to that point, maybe we can do it justice, right? Like with all these other sounds like that I've done, I feel like I've, worked out those muscles to be able to get there. That's why I'm like, okay, I'll give it a shot. Now, those aren't, I think it's one thing to think about. It's kind of cool is like, that's not going to be my only sound like Deftones, my only sound like Linkin Park, because I'm going to evolve as a songwriter because I'm doing this so much more now that when I do it again, hopefully it'll be that much better. And if it's not, your boy's doing something wrong and I need your help. You know what I mean? Um, but dudes, I appreciate you guys coming by really quick and just hanging out with me and listening to me rant about STL Tones Control Hub. Now, again, I don't have final thoughts on it. We're going to spend more time on it together, as a collective, because um, if you guys wanted to see something about it, throw it in chat. I want to know. I want to try it too. I'm just as curious as you are. And if you're interested in getting it, come to the stream, hang out, tweak, tweak around with me. Have me do the tweaking just so you can hear what it does and hopefully it'll give you a decision whether you want it. You can justify that monthly payment. No, I appreciate you guys, man. I'm really sorry that I have to go. I'm really sorry that I have to go so early. I planned on staying on for a little longer. But with that being said, I could probably jump on tomorrow. Not sure what I'm gonna do. But we'll figure it out. Definitely figure something out. I might be talking more about this. We'll see. But dudes, you guys are the best. Join the Discord, like, subscribe, and if this is your first time here, you should go and check out my previous stuff. It's full songwriting and just little tips and tricks on how I go about doing it. I like to think of those as you literally like chilling in my room because we're in my room, and we're just writing music. And so that's something that interested you, then like and subscribe and hit the bell so you get notified when I go live again, because it would be cool to have you here. But again, appreciate you guys. Have a good one, guys.